Hi, you're having lunch with Laura. Today is the 22nd of April, and we're having a little cool snap here in Baton Rouge, and we're very excited about that. And let's see, I've got some exciting news. I've been trying to get rid of my stamp and storage units back here that hold my iPads and ribbon, punches, both the lockdown and the whale tail. And I'm replacing them with the stamp and storage units that go into the IKEA. I think they're the Kallax system. And oh gosh, I've got Siri talking to me, the computer talking to me. Okay, now, so anyway, a lady yesterday. Siri talking to me. What is the deal? Okay, I keep punching the wrong button. Okay, anyway, a lady from Hammond, which is about 40 miles from Baton Rouge, contacted me, and she bought all of my units, my stamp and storage things. So I've been going through the catalog, trying to figure out what I need to replace what I had. And then I'm scheduling a trip with my friend Tracy to the IKEA store in Houston. That'll be sometime in May. So things are finally moving here, and I'm really excited. So one of these days I'm going to be able to show you the next phase. So until then, I hope all of you are well. I have a card today that I wanted to share with you, and I'm going to tilt you down so that you can see what I'm doing. So let me give it just a second there and make sure that I've got I may need to move my little, no, that looks good. Okay, oh, and good, it's facing the right way. The cards that I have for you today, and I did several different, kind of the same basic layout. And I'm going to be using another set that is retiring on May 3rd. This set was called To a Wild Rose. And when it was the first year it came out, it had the bundle. So it has Wild Rose dies, which we're going to be using some of, but now it can be purchased separately. And remember, this one is one that goes away May the 3rd, and you won't be able to get it from Stampin' Up. It is a photopolymer, and it's been well loved. And this is actually you've heard of our two-step stamping, where you stamp the outline image and then you stamp the inside. Well, this one has 3 steps, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I had always kind of steered clear of this because I didn't feel like I could do it right. This set makes everything so simple, and I am going to show you how to do that. And we are also using some of our in colors that will be able to be ordered on the 4th of May. I had a little glare there I had to get removed. So now, let's get down to business here. And let me show you the difference in these 3 cards. The die set that comes with Wild Rose, To a Wild Rose, has this big piece here. And I wanted to put this large sentiment in there, blessed to be your friend. But the more I looked at it, the more I decided that it was too large for this card. On this one, I didn't put a base at all. I just stamped right on some DSP, and this was some designer paper from the Hydrangea suite. On this one, I went with a smaller label, and it came from the dies called Painted Labels, and it's the one right here that I'm going to be using. So if you don't see what you're looking for in the dies that match your stamp set, look around and see what else you can use. Could you use a punch, or could you use another die? Could you lengthen or shorten these? I've done that in the past and shown you how to do it. But today let's concentrate on what we've got going here. Now, I want you to, excuse me. Excuse me, my voice is giving me trouble today. Can you see the difference in the flowers? These two are pretty much the same, except I squeezed a little too hard on my Wink of Stella, so this one is very shiny, if you can see that. This one, not so much, but I did the inks in the same order on these two. On this one, I did the Highland, we're going to be using 3 purples today: Gorgeous Grape, Highland Heather, and the new Fresh Freesia. And this one, I did it in a different order, and look how much darker it came out. So I like the paler ones, so that's the way I'm going to do it first. So let me show you what else we're going to be using. You would need a cardstock base, card base that is 5.5 by 11, no, by 8.5, 5.5 by 8.5, that you're folding in half and taking your bone folder to get a nice crisp edge. You also have a top layer that's the same color, and it is 4 by 5.25. Got that right. And then you're just going to need a 1/4 sheet of Whisper White, which is now being called Basic White. The first thing I want to show you is, and it's a little hard to see, but I used one of our embossing folders called Subtle that just gives you some little lines and a little bit of texture on your cardstock. Now, it's very difficult to see, but I did something different. Before I ran the cardstock through the embossing machine, I spritzed the paper with water, and that's what we're going to do today. It makes it come out and makes the grooves and everything just a little bit deeper. It's not quite as deep on this one, but like I said, it's kind of, I'm looking at the end. Let me get my cut and emboss machine over here. So that you can see. Now, on our base plate number 1, it tells you how to go about setting up your sandwich so that you can use your just dies, embossing folders, and then the really thick embossing folders. Well, this Subtle happens to be one of the ones that is really, really thick. And I set it up like this said to do it, and it was just a little bit too thin. So what I'm going to do is use plate 1, then put my embossing folder in with plate 3. But the first thing I want to do, I've just got my little spray spritzer with water in it, and I'm just going to, I don't want to get my machine wet, so I'm going to do it off camera. But I'm just a little bit. Now that may have been a tiny bit too much. It just takes longer to dry. Then I'm going to put it so that the subtle marks are going up and down. That, of course, is your preference. And now, I'm going to put my plate 3 on and roll it through. And I'm even going to go back and forth a couple of times just to make sure that it's really getting deeply embossed. Okay, let's see how it looks. I'm going to put this out of the way for a minute. Okay, it did great. I hope you can see that. Let me get that out of your way. So, now we're ready. And I'm just going to set this aside and let it dry before we put it on the card front, the card base. I'm going to start with my stamping. And this is where we get into the colors. And, you know, it seems like every time you have a rule of thumb. Hi, Tracy. I just talked about you and our trip to IKEA coming up. Seems like every time I have it where you go from the lightest color to the next darkest to the darkest, then something comes along and that switches. So what I'm doing today is using the Gorgeous Grape. Then I'm going to come in with Highland Heather. And then the last one, and I call this the blob stage, number 3. This is our new color, Fresh Freesia. And I'm going to show you how we can take the darkest one. Okay, now, this is another secret I want to tell you. It makes it a whole lot less frustrating. On my stamps, I picked one area and I put a dot with my, just my black marker Sharpie. Then on the next stamp, I matched it up and put that dot there. And then on the last one, I've got the dot. That will help you line everything up. So here we go with the darkest one is the outline. I'm going to close that up. Next, I'm going to come in with the one that gives the details. And I'm using Highland Heather. Okay, this was the little place where my dot was. And here's my dot here. So I'm going to match it up. And this one's a little weird because it doesn't match totally. So concentrate on where that dot is and then make sure you get down here even. Let's see how that did. That did pretty good. And now this, I don't know what to call this except it just makes a blob. And we're going to take our Freesia and our little dot, match it up. There we go. Pretty good. So when it dries, it'll be a little bit lighter, as you can see, when it comes out. So we're going to let that dry while I am closing these up, and then we're going to do our stem, our leaves for the roses. And again, I'm going with 2 shades of green. I'm going to use, these are brand new too. Y'all are going to absolutely love these colors. This is called Evening Evergreen. And I'm going to use it for the outline of the leaf. Let's see. I'm going to also use this for my sentiment, so I want to leave room. Okay. Then I'm going to take Soft Succulent for the inside. Now this had a 3-step also, but I couldn't really tell a whole lot of difference between this one and the other one. You couldn't really see them when you did all 3. So this one's only a 2-step. Just line. Now the leaf is easy to line up. Now, I think I will do one more. And this time, I'm going to stamp off. That's another good thing to remember to do if you want to get a lighter tone. So, yeah, those came out great. Now, close that up. And I am going to use the dark green, the Evergreen, Evening Evergreen, for my sentiment. And I'm going to put the Blessed right here. Okay. So now I'm through with my stamping. Move all of those out of the way. And we need to bring in the Big Shot again. Oops, I'm sorry. I called it the Big Shot. You're not the Big Shot, you're the cut and emboss machine. So we're going to use our plates 1, 2, and then both of 3s. And, all right, now that little place that we used for the stamp, I found it on the die, and I put a little mark there. Just realized I'm talking and you can't see what I'm doing. So I'm going to match that up, and it was right here. So I'm going to put that there. And I'm going to use 2 pieces of tape because I did one flower and only taped it once on one side and it shifted. All right, so we're going to do that. And I'm going to take the leaf. We'll do this one. Turned off. Okay, I'm going to do those 2 and then I'll come back and do the other 2 at the same time. So let's run that through. And there we have our flower and our leaf. I'll put that right here. So we're through with the flower, and we're going to do the Blessed and the other leaf. Those really do look like rose leaves. My dad had and mother had about 40 rose bushes, and she was always out there puttering around, fooling with them. When I got married, she supplied all the pink roses for my wedding, all the parties, so that was really cool. Now I'm going to tack that down. Did I tell y'all that Post-it has quit making this tape? I'm so aggravated. But I did find something to replace it. Okay, I'm going to center that as best you can. And, oops, stick it right here. Oh, I had time to treat myself. This morning I went and got my toes painted and got a manicure. So I've got blue nails today. Seems like everything I'm doing is towards turquoise and teal. And so I'm kind of matching today. All right, all of that's out of the way. Now, our piece that we embossed is dry, so I'm going to take my stamp and seal, and you can actually use either side that you want. Oh, come on. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and put some in the middle just because it was kind of misshapen. Okay, and I'm gonna center that. Now, you need to decide where you want to put everything. And I'm gonna put it in the corner and have some leaves poking out. And I want all this to be popped up. So I'm almost through with one of my sheets of dimensionals. Yeah, don't forget you can use all of this. I use every bit. Okay, that one can go there. I'm gonna put 2 on that and a couple on the leaves. Let's get a little one over there. Now, I was volunteering at the FIMU house 2 nights ago. We were doing an alumni stint with the sorority girls. There are 3 steps. If you know anything about sorority, you go from being a pledge, is when you come in as usually a freshman. Then, after you are initiated, you are an active member. And then when you're a senior and you're graduating, you go into alumni status. So these girls were getting up and telling what they were going to be doing after graduation, so that was fun. But anyway, while I was in the kitchen cleaning up, because we always feed the girls, I reached for the knife that I had just finished washing and stuck myself. And every time I think it's going to stay together, it pops open and starts bleeding. I was bleeding all over the table a while ago. Okay. Now, can't have a card without some bling. You know me. So I'm going to use my little take your pick tool, and I want to remember to put the Wink of Stella on there. What did I do with mine? Okay, when you can't find it, scissors work just as well. And let's put some dark ones in here. And let me get my other little scissors. Y'all, I am loving I've been using a 6-foot-long table for umpteen jillion years, and having a desk has made a new person out of me. I'm just so excited. Okay, so I'm going to put that there, if I can get it off my finger. These are the pastel pearls. They are in the little mini catalog, and the mini catalog is going to go on a little longer than the annual catalog. The annual catalog goes live, that's what we call it when it goes to the customers, on May the 4th. So be sure and take advantage of some of the retiring things. Don't let something you really thought you might want disappear on you. Now I'm going to take some Wink of Stella, and I'm just going to, no rhyme or reason here, just put it on, maybe put a little bit on the leaves. So there is the outside of our card. And I think, I don't know what you think, but I definitely think that this label overpowered the card. So this one's a little bit better. And on the inside, I want to be blessed to be your friend. So I'm going to stick with the Evening Evergreen. And I'm going to get my little centering mat out. I think I showed you this before, where I took a piece of grid paper and I did it so you could do cards this way or this way. And I have a center line, and it just helps me to eyeball what I'm going to be stamping. So let's see, that goes right there. And I can't see up here, but I can see here. So that gives me another little thing. But I'm going to also add another sentiment here. So I'm going to kind of use the line of the paper and hope that that's fairly centered. And this last sentiment says, true friendship is one of God's greatest gifts. And I just thought that I couldn't leave that out. That just spoke to me. There you go. But you see how you can use those lines to kind of guide your eye. I know it's off a little. It's not perfect. It's handmade. But I think it's pretty good. Now, I also want to go back and stamp a leaf. You don't want to leave the inside of your cards naked. I keep closing up the... Y'all aren't seeing that. Uh-oh. Okay, we got paused for a minute. Now we're back. Okay. I'm going to put a leaf here and one up here. And I am going to go ahead and fill them in. I could just leave them, but since this is a quick card, I'm going to use this one that I said, let's see what it looks like, because it's the one that I did not use. Let's see how that does. It does fine. And right there, I think I got a little off. No, that looks good. So, there you have it. Again, this is a set that could be used for so many different occasions. Birthdays, sympathy, just saying hello to some of your friends. Reach out and send a card this week and let your friends know how much you love and appreciate them and miss them. So here is today's card. Blessed to be your friend. True friendship is one of God's greatest gifts. And there you have your card for today. And I will return next week, and we'll have another edition of Lunch with Laura. Be sure that you like my page, please. And when you go to YouTube, if you want to go back and look at it again, be sure to subscribe so that you'll get notifications. Because when I download them, I put them on YouTube, edit it just a little bit and then put it back on YouTube. And it gives you the list of the supplies that I've used also. You can also visit my website, stampingatthebirdnest.com. And there you will find my gallery. And I have about 8 or 9 pages of pictures of cards that I've done. So visit my gallery too and see if I can inspire you. And until next Thursday at noon, have a great week. I love you. See you soon. Bye.